The third Democratic debate has come and gone, but will there be any lasting impact for voters? And what grade would we give the media's coverage of that debate?
Team Rising is here, the sharpest dressed men in town.
Always.
Antoine Seawright is Democratic strategist, served as senior advisor to Hillary Clinton's campaign in South Carolina. Henry Rogers is Capitol Hill reporter for the Daily Caller. Good to see you both.
See you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so we've had a couple days to digest this thing. 538 took a look at respondents. They had some snap polling after this. They broadly found that they thought that Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg did quite well in the debate, which in some polling, which I'm not sure I necessarily agree. But they did look at one of the respondents, and one of the things I found interesting, Antoine, is the top three they said who would fare well against Trump after the debate: Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris. It looks just like the polling. Did this debate actually move the needle in any meaningful way?
The front runners kept on running in front as a result of this debate. I don't think it changed much, and truthfully, I don't know if any debate will change much, even when you down to 10 candidates. I think when you're down to 5 to 7, which I think the field will get to that point when we get into next year, that is a more realistic where you can see some change.
Yeah.
What I did like about this debate is the elevation of a policy discussion. So it gave the voters and it gave the candidates a chance to really flesh out their policy positions and make them be held accountable for some of the things they've been saying on the trail. So I thought that was good.
What do you think, Henry?
I thought it definitely guaranteed those 3 or 4 candidates that next spot on the debate stage, obviously.
Yeah.
And obviously, it was not surprising to see these candidates do well. These are the kind of candidates who have been, as you said, leading the polls. They've been doing well in all the debates. So they're kind of just continuing to rally their points and move ahead further to be that candidate moving forward.
I mean,
so we'll see.
I may take issue with the idea that Joe Biden did well. I think he did well enough given the incredibly lowered expectations that the pundit class has for him.
I agree with you completely.
What do you think?
Let me say it this way. When you're the front runner, it's a different set of expectations.
Exactly.
You're not expected to just blow it out of the water. It's the people.
Really? Shouldn't the expectations be higher for the front runner?
No, he's just supposed to perform. He doesn't need to have some game changer moment. And I thought, honestly, this was Joe Biden's strongest debate to this point. I think he was well prepared.
So too,
I think he stayed focused, and he did not.
There was more energy for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think it's being about prepared because look, the debate was shaping up to be a battle between the progressives and the center-left approach, right? And there were not too many center-left people on the stage, but he held firm for his center-left positioning, and I think that did well for him.
What did you think of Julian Castro's knock against him? There was a lot of analysis in the press. They said, oh, Julian is toast with a lot of people. We actually even saw a congressman who switched his endorsement of Julian Castro to Joe Biden. So whenever we talked about this after Kamala went after Joe Biden, you told us that actually that would significantly backfire with some of in the older black community. That is what we saw in the data. Do you think that we're going to see similar results with Julian Castro?
Look, there are a lot of candidates who have come after Joe Biden who are no longer around to tell about it, to talk about it. And I think Castro will be in that same position. Look, I think that at the end of the day, say what you want about Joe Biden, people are very loyal. His support is wide and is deep, and you cannot knock that. So I think he made a mistake. And plus, I think it feeds into this narrative that we're running against each other and not for our party's nomination. I think that's a very dangerous thing. And you can have a moment, but we'll not transfer into a movement.
Well, and Henry, I mean, I actually agree with Antoine's analysis. I don't think this is going to help Julian Castro. It may hurt Julian Castro. But I did take issue with some of the analysis, the hand-wringing about how he was so mean to Joe Biden. Like, if you can't handle Julian Castro, how in the world are you going to be able to stand up against Donald Trump?
No, I completely agree with you. But again, it goes back to that point. He served under former President Barack Obama, just like Joe Biden did. He worked with Joe Biden. And so you can't go up there and knock Biden and knock your former president, who the entire crowd loves, the entire base loves. You can't go up there and knock them. That's only going to hurt you.
It was weird to say, I am carrying on the legacy. That was too far. I'm carrying on the legacy. I'm like, dude, you were like the HUD secretary for like 2 years. You know what I mean? That's like Ben Carson saying he's carrying on the Trump legacy.
Here's the thing. Tackling someone who has on the same jersey as you just does not make sense.
But Antoine, this is a primary.
It is
so
a
you have to know what the differences are with these candidates.
No, you can talk about your position without attacking the other person. And I think most people, even some of the other candidates in their campaigns, the ones I spoke to, felt like it was a personal attack against Joe Biden, not necessarily the policy difference.
What did you think, though, about Biden's response that got a lot of attention on slavery and reparations? And he went on at length about how he thinks there should be social workers to help African American parents, and that there should be record players. I mean, it was such a weird word salad that people didn't really know what to make of it. And then after the fact, when you looked at the transcript, it was like, this is actually kind of offensive what he said.
To some, look, I see it this way. My leader, Mr. Clyburn, says in his memoirs that our lives are the sum total of our experiences. And I think Joe Biden always speaks from his set of experiences, whether you agree or not. And I think he believes there's more than one way to skin a cat or address certain issues. And I think he always governs from that point. But to the counter that, for the people who are inside the bubble who get all rattled and upset, what the people who actually show up to vote know is that Joe Biden has a history and a body of work that speaks for him. And we say in South Carolina.
Is that a positive thing, though, when your history is the crime bill and opposing busing and all of that?
I think his body of work and advocating for and being there for communities of color and even white working class people has elevated him to be in this moment and to be prepared for this
I do think you're hitting on something which is good, Antoine, which is like, look, at a lot of the time, a lot of these people who are outraged online are white. They're like upper middle class white liberals being outraged on black people's behalf. And a lot of the actual African American voters who support Biden are like, hey, let us litigate what is racist and what is not.
Or it's people in the bubble who are looking for tweets and retweets, or it's millennials who arguably Biden has some work to do. But that's a big disconnect because the people who show up in primary consistently are older African American voters who feel like they know his body of work.
Especially in South Carolina.
Absolutely.
All right, especially you guys sit tight, and we're going to come right back after this.